Yeah, for sure. So my name's Lee Duncan. I'm from Sheffield in the UK. And I'm just going to take you back through a small journey of where everything started for me. So right from my childhood years, um, I used to spend a lot of time every other weekend going to my grandparents' house because my mother and father were very strict with me and my brothers, and also it just gave my mother and father a bit of space rather than having three little rascals in the house. They were dealing with two while I was at my grandparents. So I used to go there more or less every weekend, and I remember my grandfather used to. He's a big sports fan, so he used to watch the soccer and football, as soccer as you guys call it in the States, is football here, and also boxing. But every time the boxing came on, I used to get excited. I used to get up and start moving around and everything else, and I just fell in love with it from there. And that's when I started getting the vision of what I wanted to be. So as time rolled on, um, sort of living at home with my parents, growing up, going through school, my academic life was in a total mess. All right, my relationship with my father wasn't so good either because the vision I had in my head of what I wanted to do, my father was very negative towards that. So my father is black, he's from the West Indies,
Mhm.
very negative. My mother is white English, and my mother's very positive. My mother's my best friend, and she's always pushed me towards my vision and said, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. So it all started from here. And I used to battle with my father all the time because he wanted me to do what he wanted me to do and everything else. So it clashed a lot. So as time rolled on, it's coming up to leaving school. I've left school with one GCSE, so I've not achieved anything in my academia life. Well, yeah, I got one GCSE, so nothing happened for me. Nothing happened for me from living at home and being around that environment. So I had to take the courageous decision to actually move out of my family home at 16. So I didn't know anything about living alone. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I wanted to begin the quest and the journey to better my life and live out my vision of becoming a professional boxer. That was my dream. So I moved out of the family home at 16, and I came across a mentor. This was simultaneously while I was sort of moving out and everything else. And, you know, he was explaining certain things that I had to do if I wanted to better my life and become a success and become a professional boxer in which I wanted to be. So one of the steps I had to take was actually move out. So I remember waking up the first day when I'd moved out, and my father was, you know, he was still telling me, "Oh, what do you want to move out for?" Because my father actually moved us up to an affluent area of Sheffield, where we're from, to keep us out of trouble, me and my brother. So we lived in a nice house, nice area, quiet neighborhood.
Mhm.
But it just goes to show sometimes that that is not enough, because I was a prisoner in my own mind at the time because nothing was happening. So then, yeah, it all started to unfold from there. As I moved out, I was around other athletes, living with athletes, world champions, and that's when a really big major shift started in my life. At 16, no, I had a few like part-time jobs I was doing, but nothing of significance. And I just moved out. I had nothing. So, you know, I didn't necessarily have any money. I had nothing. So I didn't know how I was going to do it, but all I knew was what I wanted to be. And that was enough for me.
Where did you go?
So I ended up living with in a house of professional athletes. This is where my mentor put me. He put me in a house of other fighters. So I was around athletes, and then from that I was meeting other athletes from different sports like football, basketball, hockey, who were coming around, who was friends, and that was their network. And I was around that mentality of
Mhm.
winners, champions.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I then went on to live out my vision, because I was around that cohort of people.
Like-minded people.
You understand? Yeah.
Mhm.
So from being in that environment where I was battling with my father and my father being negative constantly towards me and what I wanted to do, then I was around people who were actually doing it on that quest. And
Mhm.
they were people that I wanted to be like for their attributes of what they were doing with their life. So I was around that culture. And this is why I say, and I've referenced this a lot of time, motivation is not enough. Discipline is not enough, because discipline is still questionable. We can still question, oh, we're disciplined. We have to be disciplined today. Oh, this week I'm going to be really disciplined. It's still not enough. It has to be a culture we have to adopt in our lifestyle to live every single day.
Mm-hmm.
For example, me training every day, it's not something I have to be disciplined for. It's part of my anatomy. It's just culture to me. I just go and train every day, whether I'm running, walking, boxing, whatever.
However, I think that desire deep inside of you to want that, because you know that in order to be a good boxer or a good athlete, you need to be well conditioned. So, you know, that passion, that fire within really is what gets you to the thought that, okay, if I don't do this today, then I'm not going to be, you know, good enough to go into the ring and to be a soccer player, whatever it is, whatever sport it is that someone might want. How, do you think that that's correct, or that's the same?
Yeah, and look, it all starts from the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So in school, in my academia, when I was young, I was trying to do something. That word try
Mm-hmm.
is a different terminology for I'm not sure if I can. It's still, you still question yourself. When I was actually immersed into the boxing world, I was in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already doing. And that's the difference. If we try to do something, we're still questioning whether we can do it. When we are in progress, we are doing. So being around this cohort of people, I was picking things up on what we were doing on a day-to-day basis. So it was all training, it was all boxing, it was all success, it was all talking about world championships. That was the culture. You were expected to win. You were expected to train. You were expected to be in bed by 9 p.m. This was all a culture. So I was around this culture from young. So this is programmed in me. I'm programmed like that right now, still to this day. So my point is, other things started to eventually open up for me because I was living my vision. I was then fulfilled. I had a sense of fulfillment. So other things were a byproduct of that. So other things started opening up and happening. So my subconscious was hard at work and smart at work. My physical body was doing the hard work. My subconscious was doing the smart work behind the scenes.
I love
And
that.
that was a game changer for me. That was a game changer because I knew I had an opportunity to change my life. It's paramount, Christy. It's paramount. And the reason I say why is you get two choices. It'll come down to two factors: inspiration or desperation. And the reason I say that, when I was 16 years old, I had both of them. I had inspiration from Brendan Ingle, who was my mentor, and I had desperation of what I wanted to become and how desperate I was to change my life and change my mindset. So I had the two concurrently running together. So I was desperate because I burnt my boats. As soon as I moved out of my family home, I burnt my boats. That was it. I had to do something. I had to make changes. And when you're left in that situation, you're only going to triumph. And the reason I say that, because if we have no inspiration or desperation to do something, it's just not possible to do. Nothing else is going to change you. Nothing else is going to force that change. It's not going to wake people up. So, in my opinion, they're the two major factors that people need, even being young, okay? Learning how to stand on your own 2 feet, learning how to be responsible for yourself, learning how to cook, clean, and take care of others as well. So, as this was happening, and this is why I relate it to what you just said, because what happened when I was fulfilling my vision, when I said earlier, I mentioned other things started to happen for me. I got the discipline to then go back to college. And the reason I said discipline, academia wasn't my culture. Boxing was my culture. I then adopted the discipline to go back to college. Well, to get in college. Then I ended up getting the grades through my discipline to go to university. Now that, again, was inspiring because I knew I was inspiring others. So then I ended up going to university. I got a BA honors, and then I went on to do my master's degree. So all that came from me following my vision. That the academia was just a byproduct of what I was doing. And then that forced me to do that. And I became the first British professional fighter to obtain a master's degree whilst boxing professionally. So I created history through doing my vision, which inspired many others and changed the game for sports people these days, because people were saying, how can you do the two? You can't. No, you don't understand. My subconscious was doing all this. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to do it or how I was going to do it, but I did it.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what it did for me. And like, I always urge the young people just to follow your vision, because visions are killed at a young age by external opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people told me not to get into boxing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how even my family members were telling me? My mother was the only one who was pushing me towards it,
Mm-hmm.
because she knew it's what made me happy and what I wanted to do. You
Right.
know, but my mother would ring me every time I told her about a big win, or I'd call my mother. She'd always said, son, I love you just the way you are. So I could be anything, and my mum would say the same thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but anything that I was doing, she'd say that just so
Because
that it
she's
would
supportive of you. And it's not that
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and it's not that the naysayers aren't supportive of you. The thing is that they, a lot of times people look at it in a negative light, but really, even the naysayers, even those that can care about you, either A, they don't believe it's something that they could do, so therefore they don't want to, they don't think that
That's
you can do it as well. They, sometimes people just say that because they want to protect you, because they don't want you to fail. So they have that
yeah,
mindset that you're going to fail, and I want to protect you from
yeah.
being disappointed.
Exactly. And like you just said, it's not that they're not rooting for you. Of course, everyone's rooting for you, but sometimes people find it difficult to see your vision
Mm-hmm.
from what you see, because everyone has a different perspective on life. And then get into the first fight. And then I actually lost my first professional fight. So then what I learned by that is you have to have a championship mindset. A winning mindset is not enough. We all have to adopt a championship mindset in life, because you're going to come up against barriers. There's going to be obstacles, but it's how you deal with them. It's how you overcome them. And people say, "Oh yeah, yeah, just keep. We got to be winners. We're born winners." No one's born to win.
Right.
You have to learn. It's a learned behavior.
Right.
Winning, you have to learn how to win. You have to learn how to adopt a championship mindset as part of your culture, to come back, to avenge. How did I train twice a day and then go to university all day, study, get my essays done, get my dissertation done, and then still do both? You have to adopt a championship mindset, whether that's in a working career, an entrepreneurship, running a business, taking care of your kids, whatever. You have to have that championship mindset. Yeah, so I had a couple of sponsorships at the
Okay.
time. And then obviously what I was getting paid from fighting, I wasn't doing anything else. I was just literally studying, training, and coming home. So the money I was getting paid from boxing and my sponsorship, that's what I was sort of using to live
Perfect.
and invest in certain other things. So I wasn't really spending anything, because I wasn't going out. My whole life, my whole culture was boxing and studying. So that's how I got through it.
And I think that in and of itself, what you just said there, you weren't going out, you weren't spending money recklessly. And I think a lot of times, young people get money in their pocket, and then 2 minutes later, it's gone. And I think that that's really important. You have to kind of sometimes
Yeah,
sacrifice what it is that you would like to do, to have to be seeing that vision like you had in your mind, like this is
yeah.
just momentary gratification right now to buy this or go here or spend a night out with friends or whatever it might be, but my vision is more important, and I need to stay the course. And I think that's a really important lesson. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But being young, you don't know that unless you start doing the self-development stuff.
Right.
It's not other people's job to teach you your financial situation or your financial uh, you know, intellect. You have to go out and learn that yourself, and you learn that through mistakes. You learn that through error.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now, you
like
just
I said,
mentioned self-development. what did you do? I mean, other than your mentor, what did you do as a young person to help you with that self-development?
So in my mid-20s, that's when it really started for other areas of self-development, when I started picking up self-development books and really, you know, developing the mind,
Mhm.
as well as outside of boxing. I started looking into other things and other sort of mentors, and when you pick up a book, it's like having a mentor with you because all the information's there,
Right.
and going out and speaking to people who were a lot more successful, being around highly successful people and individuals and asking them, and just being a student of the game. Today, I'm still a student of the game. I always like to speak to people who are a lot smarter than I am,
Mhm.
who are doing bigger things than what I'm doing, because I learn from them.
Mhm.
I'm good at observing and absorbing. That's something I'm very good at. So I absorb very easily. So, when I go to certain places and I meet people, I absorb what they do. I study what they do. I don't just watch people, I study people to
Mhm.
see what they're doing, and how I can learn from that and how I can get involved. Mindset is key. Peace of mind is so delicate. Anything that disrupts your peace of mind, get rid of it. Get it out there immediately.
Mhm.
You want to make sure that you're channeling your energy and your mindset to something that is good for the peace of mind, because when your peace of mind is how can I say it, when you have that sense of fulfillment, your energy changes, your frequency changes, your vibration changes throughout the world. So you start attracting good, you start attracting great energy towards that, and that's from your internal dialogue. So my advice would be, absolutely adopt it as culture in your life. Don't just rely on your motivation or being disciplined. Adopt it as a culture, because
Mhm.
then you'll do it on human instinct.
Right.
You'll do it on instinct, and learn to respond and not react. Reactive is a survival mechanism.
Right.
Responding is something that you can control. You can respond appropriately to life, to situations, to scenarios,
Mhm.
you know.
Now, before you use the word manifest quite a bit, and
Hmm.
you know, for anyone out there that doesn't know what it is, you say you manifest a lot of things. What does that mean to you?
Manifest is, so I'll tell you what a vision is. A vision is a subconscious expression that we then play out through our actions. And the time that it's taken us to get there is the manifestation process.
Hmm.
But we have to have a vision in order to manifest something into
Right.
existence. So as long as you've got the vision in your head, it'll happen. But you got to think about that vision every day, because that's when the manifesting starts.
Hmm. And so,
So that would be my.
what do you do to keep those? What do you do every day to make sure that that vision is first and foremost in your mind?
I think about it as soon as I wake up. I think about it before I go to bed. My subconscious then does the smart work again. I'm using the same process I used when I wanted to be a professional fighter. I'm using that same process because it works. I do my affirmations every day, every morning, every night. When I'm out and about on my own, I consume good, clean content. I'm not consuming negative content. I don't, because that is all being processed.
Hmm.
Whether we know it or we don't, your subconscious mind, what we put in is what's going to come out. So your actions are expressing the content that's already been consumed. My definition of success is following your vision through, because when you follow a vision, you become fulfilled. And from that fulfillment, you then project more visions that you want to do in life, and you want to genuinely make a difference,
Hmm.
because you know that your vision made a difference for yourself.
Hmm.
So success can mean anything.
Right.
I know what I need in life to be successful. Am I successful right now? In certain areas, I'm successful. Am I fulfilled 100%? No. Am I partly fulfilled? yes, I'm partly fulfilled for the fact I followed my vision, which made me very happy. Because
Right.
then I'm not saying, what if I should have done this? What if I'd have done that? You know, I'm not playing a sort of fantasy role with it. I actually went out and done it. So I think if you follow your vision, you'll become successful. Listen, it's like when we was arranging this podcast, and I made a commitment. I committed. I didn't know whether, you know, everyone can say, "Oh, we don't have the time," but just commit. Commit first, figure the rest out later. So when we were on the phone the other day, we both committed to this podcast, and
Mhm.
we had a vision to do it. We manifested it. It's done. And that's the way everything is in life. There's a lot. Look, there's a lot of science out there that complicate certain processes. The only difference between a championship mindset and an average mindset is the average mindset, the voice that comes in your head, questioning whether you can do something.
Mhm.
Can I do it? Am I good enough? Am I worthy? The difference between a championship voice in your head is, how am I going to do this? I'm going to make sure I do this. I can do it. This is going to make me grow and excel. That's the only difference. There's no science behind it. People are out there trying to, throw science in people's faces, making it overcomplicated. It's not. All you have to do is change that voice in your head and then work on the science after that. But that's the first step that everyone should take, is if you're in somewhere and you don't want to get up on stage and speak, that voice in your head is telling you all kind of different things, like, oh, you're not good enough. What if you stumble over your words? What if you make yourself look like an idiot? The championship mindset will say, hey, I'm going to get up and add so much value to people listening to me, and I'm going to make it about them, not me.
Right.
Be authentic.
Love that.
Authenticity.
Mm-hmm. That's
That's
so
what,
important.
100%. Authenticity.
Yeah.
And progress. The takeaway word, progress. Make progress. Don't worry about perfecting something just yet. Just make progress every day. You're moving forward. No matter what, just move forward every day.
I love it.
Yeah. So that would be my takeaway.
That's perfect. Yeah, because so many people are trying to be this person or that person or somebody else. Be yourself. You are the best you, and make it authentic. Don't be something that you want you think other people want to hear, but that word authenticity is really really important. I love that. So, and yeah,
100%.
so thank you so very very much for being here with me today. I so appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to watching and seeing what you do next, and when everything
Absolutely.
moves forward and comes out, and ghostwriter.
Absolutely. Thank you for the tip. And I know you're based out in the Dominican right now in Punta
I am.
Cana, and I've actually been there with myself. I took my mother with me a few years ago, and we had a blast out there. I love Punta Cana, so I hope you have an amazing time out there. And thanks for having me on your podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure, and all the best of luck with it. And I know you'll do great things yourself. And you know what? Let me know when your book's out, and I'll buy a book.
Will do. Well, you're gonna have to, because your story is gonna be in there too.
Yes, I forgot about that. So exciting times. So yeah, for sure. I'm gonna look forward to reading that, Christy. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So stay in touch, and
I
it's
will.
been fabulous, and it's been a pleasure to be on here. So again, thank you for inviting me.